Hey, Caden.
What?
Did you know that 2001 is just for pretentious people?
Oh, yeah, so, when we see that, they can yawn really loudly and, shove it in their face, and dude, they're in space. Why are they
don't you
talking?
say, holy shit, you're in outer space.
I know, right?
What's going on?
Kevin, what? It's fine. Let's go watch You Get Me or something.
Yeah, let's go watch the latest Netflix film, and then talk about how great it is. They're making so many great decisions lately.
And by great choices, I mean the amazing choice to give this show an absolutely necessary second season.
Don't change the channel, don't touch that dial. We got it all on UHM. Take off your sneakers.
Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and this is going to be for a very, very delayed review of the second season of a show that I did not think would see the light of day, but here we are. That, of course, being for 13 Reasons Why, Season 2, and of course, I am not alone for this video. I am here with a guest who essentially forced me into watching this season. Just tell everyone, well, that you know who he is, but in case you for some reason don't, here he is anyway.
Hi everyone, it is the one and only Ginger himself, the Auburn Wanderer, aka the Caden LaPlante.
Yes.
So, here's a little bit of backstory. I have not been really wanting to watch any TV for the past few years. I was just like, you know what? Movies are the only art form that matters, okay?
Even though that's blatantly not true at all.
I know that now, Kevin. So, the only TV show besides, Sopranos, Wire, Breaking Bad that I ever wanted to watch was Twin Peaks. So I watched Twin Peaks earlier this year, and holy fucking shit, yeah, I'm on the TV thing now, okay?
Yeah.
So.
Which means we can finally get him to watch The Leftovers.
Yes, that will happen at some point. Now, for some reason, the first show after I finished Twin Peaks, guess what show it is? Well, out of all the shows I could possibly have chosen from, I choose 13 Reasons Why.
Yes, what a great follow-up.
Don't ask me why. I just was like, I was curious. I can't lie. I was like, you know what? I want to see for myself how I feel about this show. Because I have heard so much. I heard so much about this show even before it came out. Like right before it came out, everyone was talking about it in fucking school. We had class discussions in 8th grade about 13 Reasons Why. And I was just there in the corner I don't know what the fuck they're talking about. But now here I am, 2.5 years later after the first season came out, even though it should have been a miniseries, but whatever. And I've seen the first 2 seasons, and Kevin did a review all the way back then. It's funny, Kevin's most viewed video is the review of the first episode.
Yes,
So now he's finally back reviewing the best show of all time, 13 Reasons Why, and I forced him into basically watching season 2 of me, because I said to him, dude, if you've seen the first season, this is still one of the most popular shows on TV, and look, our opinions on the show, it doesn't matter. This is still one of the most popular shows on TV for some reasons. For reasons that, we might not like, but it is. So I said to Kevin, you know what, dude? Why not just watch season 2 with me? So I basically forced him into doing it, and now he's here. And we're going to review it together. So yay!
Yes, and before I crucify you for that, what this season is essentially about, for those of you that don't know, is, of course, after Clay has listened to all of the tapes and things like that, Olivia and Andy are planning to sue the school. So now, instead of tapes, we have everyone doing these testimonies, and basically along the way, there are these pictures in the forms of Polaroids that start to turn up and start to haunt all of the students and things like that. We learn a lot of deeper and darker secrets, and we start to learn that maybe not everything that Hannah said on the tapes maybe she did not tell the entire truth of what really happened on the tapes, essentially negating the concept of the first season, but whatever, it's great. And so I'll just give my stance real quick for those of you that don't know. I was actually a really really big fan of season 1. I think it was definitely a very well done story. I think it honed in on a lot of really relevant themes about bullying and kind of a little bit about mental illness here and there, about the effects of bullying, grief, trauma, all that kind of stuff, how we take blame for things that aren't really our fault, but also how we should hold accountability for things and things like that, and how, mostly of all, just how we should be able to have a conversation about these things. I think it handled those subjects really well. And if you guys remember, at the end of my season 1 review, I said, I'm happy with the way things wrapped up, but if they were to do a season 2, there are a couple things they could, kind of build on a bit. And I was thinking, okay, if they were to do that, I would assume it'd be in the form of like Big Little Lies or something like that, where it's essentially like an epilogue, it's closing out the show and things like that. So while I was very skeptical going into season 2, I still kept an open mind because I thought, okay, there's still 1 or 2 things they can really build on and make legitimately better, like they did in Big Little Lies season 2 with Bonnie, for example. They could maybe do that with season 2 here. So again, I didn't really know how it was going to turn out. The trailers didn't really impress me all that much, but I was really hoping that it could be something really good, and it sucks. This season, I really don't know what ended up happening. This season is fucking terrible. It's probably one of the most unnecessary seasons of TV I think I've ever seen in my life. And but before we get more into it, Caden, give them your thoughts on just the show and this season real quick.
Season 1, surprisingly, I actually think is kind of good.
Mm-hmm.
I wouldn't say I like it overall, because I have to be honest with you. The first 2 episodes of season 1, I fucking hated. I really, really didn't like it. To me, it was just a bunch of really stupid high school drama. And to me, the way it was tackling bullying in the first 2 episodes, to me, just like it wasn't well done. But once the second half of the show, I do have my issues with the second half of the show, but I think the show gets a lot better. Specifically, the stuff between Clay and Hannah is actually great. All their stuff is really, really fucking good. And episode 11, the one about the Clay, the tape about Clay, is actually a fantastic fucking episode. And I think the finale for season 1 is actually pretty good.
That's my favorite episode of the entire show, easily.
Yeah, so I think it's decent overall. It's a very mixed bag for me because I hate some certain things. There's certain storylines, specifically Bryce Walker, that are absolutely fucking horrendous. But to be honest, I thought there's a good majority of the stuff that I thought was fine. Some things I hated, but you know what? I thought it was fine. So I said to myself, all right, it's time for season 2. And I kind of went into season 2. Now, I try not to do this as much anymore as I used to. I kind of went in expecting to hate it because everyone was saying to me who has seen season 2 and has said to me, Caden, if you hated these, the really stupid drama aspects, and also, just so I get this, just so I get this out of the way, I don't think they glorify suicide. I'm talking about season 1. I don't think they glorify suicide. I think they glorify sexual assault in season 1. So, people were telling me, if you feel that way, you're gonna fucking hate season 2. And I was like, okay, we'll see why. I watched it, obviously. I watched the first episode by myself because Kat had already seen the first episode. And
yes, because let me give you some context there. I watched the first episode of season 2, not knowing, wondering why it exists. I watched it. I felt, this has no reason to exist. Not worth my time. Turned it off. Had no plans. No plans. I want to reiterate that I had no plans to go back to it, but I saw the pain that this ginger was in. I saw how he was feeling. I was like, you know what? I'll watch it with you. All right. I gave in. I don't know why I gave into it, and now we're stuck here. But go ahead.
So I watched the first episode, and literally, I'm not even joking. That first episode alone. Okay, I'll say my thoughts around season 2 in a second. But that first episode alone, I literally, because I watched, I think, the first 2 episodes in, the first night I was, starting it.
Yeah, you watched the first one, then you watched the second one with me.
Yeah, so basically, I called Kevin. I literally ranted for almost, a half fucking hour just on episode 1. I was like, what the fuck are they fucking doing? And, to say the least, Doesn't get
Yeah,
prettier.
Yeah.
This season, look, I don't even know like how to exactly say it, but this is one of the most offensive things I've ever fucking watched.
Oh yeah, easily.
It's so horrible, and the defenses for it are even worse, to be honest. Look, I am someone who I hate it when people fucking say this because you don't have to fucking say it. It's like just show it. I respect opinions, but if you try to defend the shit that happens in this season, no, just no. Because the stuff that happens in this season is so offensive and is objectifying and glorifying these really serious issues that are happening in the world. And I am sorry, but this show should not be tackling a lot of the issues that it does.
Oh yeah.
And this season just shouldn't exist.
Yeah.
So, I fucking hated this fucking season, but let's get into it.
We'll just get into it. Now, we're going to start off with one of the few positives we have with this season.
By the way, spoilers. We're just going to spoil the shit out of this. So.
Yeah, we're going to spoil everything, which, I mean, Season 3 is coming out in a few days anyway, so, like, you guys will probably watch it then, so
yeah,
whatever. Yeah, we'll just get into it. One of the only positives I think we can agree, and this is not for everyone, is the acting. I do think most of the actors here are still really good, Dylan Minnette especially. I will say this, Dylan Minnette, as, regardless of what happens to Clay as a character, for the most part, I feel like Minnette is still into it. He's still game for what they give him. He does slightly elevate the material, and I do think he still does do a really good job here. Clay is a very complex character in that way, and even when it's, again, there are things with his character that really aren't working this season, he still does convey that emotion, that desperation he has, and I think he still does do a really good job with that here.
I will say this. Dylan Minnette at points in the season absolutely sucks, but when he is good, he's actually pretty fucking great. Yeah. Not to jump all the way there, but in the finale, he's pretty good, regardless of the fact that the finale is one of the worst things I've ever seen.
Yeah, we'll get to that in a little bit.
Yeah, but he's pretty solid, I'd say. I'd say the rest of the cast, besides one specific, look, I don't think there are some performances in the show that I wouldn't say are like great, but like they're fine. Like who plays Bryce?
Justin Prentice.
He's good. Okay,
he does a good job.
Good. He does a good job with the character.
Yeah, making
at points he's actually like for the character he does a really great job at it at points. But he's pretty good. I'm just gonna be honest. I don't know the exact actresses names. I know that's really disrespectful, and I apologize.
All right, Alisha Bowe plays Jessica. I think she
is fucking great.
Yeah, she's fantastic throughout this entire season.
She's easily like the best in this whole fucking season, like acting wise. Who plays Justin?
Justin is Brandon Flynn. He's definitely...
He's pretty fucking good.
Yeah, you get a lot more into who Justin is, and Flynn definitely, I think, is even better this season. For me, though, the big standout of this season, surprisingly, was Kate Walsh. I thought she was fantastic this season. I mean, you really do feel the regrets and just the grief that Olivia's in. She's in constant distress throughout the entire season, and she really wants that justice for her daughter, but there's also a lot of things that she kind of feels guilt for, and you really do feel that throughout the season. There's a palpable amount of emotion that she really is going through, and I think Walsh does a really great job with that here. It feels very raw, and she was one of the only actors I feel like this season that genuinely added more to their role than what was given, and I think she did a really great job here. She was one of those, there's not a lot that I was looking forward to this season, but I was always looking forward to seeing Olivia on screen just because of how good Walsh really was here. I thought she really gave it her all this season. Unfortunately, for a lot of these actors, though, the one thing I will confirm is that, you see, while some of these actors are really great, Alisha Bowe, as we said, is fantastic. You really do get to feel that, what Jessica has been through, and she does a really good job with that. Brandon Flynn's definitely really good. Some of them just really aren't that great. Miles Heizer, who plays Alex, is terrible. And look, the reason why I didn't really pick up on this in the first season is because he didn't really have a lot to do. Here, he's given a lot more challenging material, and I'm sorry to say, he's just not really able to convey it. It doesn't really work. You don't really, at points, it's almost laughable what he is doing in the show, and it just doesn't really work. And look, I'm not saying he's a bad actor. He's terrible in this role, though, and whatever they were trying to do with him, it just did not communicate well, and I thought he really fell flat on his face here.
Mm-hmm. Okay, so I'm on IMDb now just so I know the names because I don't want to, like, not know their names because that's kind of...
Wow, Caden, you really did your research here.
Okay, I apologize. Yeah, okay, I'll say this. When it comes to people who actually elevate their roles, Alisha Bowe is definitely the best. She's fucking great.
Thank you.
Yeah, Brendan Flynn is pretty fucking good. Kate Walsh is probably also really fucking good. And, you know, I mean, Dylan Minnette at points is good. I mean...
Oh, another one we forgot. Derek Luke as Mr. Porter.
Oh my gosh, she's really good too.
He is so good. Similar to Olivia, you really feel that sort of raw emotion that he's really going through, and you see him and the regret that he really does have. There's one episode especially where I thought he was fantastic, and I really hope he's one of those actors that goes on to do far more challenging material and not another like Tyler Perry film, which this one had to inform me that he was in. He's actually a really great actor and he deserves a lot better. So yeah, unfortunately that can't be said for some of the other actors here. Devin Druid, especially as Tyler, is awful. He does not do a good job at all here. I think and here's the thing, Tyler as a character isn't good already, but Druid does absolutely nothing to elevate him. He's just playing a stereotype. He doesn't do anything to make it feel more layered. He doesn't really stand out in that way, and it just doesn't really work here. And I thought he really wasn't very good. Unfortunately, though, the most disappointing performance...
I want to talk about this one.
Okay.
This, to me... was the most, like, maybe the most shocking thing about this season. Katherine Langford fucking sucks in this fucking season.
Yeah,
I don't care what anyone fucking says. What the fuck happened? She is so fucking perfect in the first fucking season. She nails fucking Hannah Baker.
Yep.
And I don't care what anyone fucking says.
I thought she was the standout of the first season.
Me too. She's fucking great in the fucking first season, okay? To me, she's fucking Emmy-worthy in the first fucking season. I don't care what anyone says. This fucking season. Let's just get into a little bit of the story here. The flashbacks, she's phoning it in. I'm sorry, she's phoning it in. Like, to me, it does not feel as natural as it was in season one. Now, granted, season one, she had so many, like, the whole thing all she had was flashbacks. She had, like, a few little appearances with the vision of the ghost, which we'll get to that soon.
Oh my god.
But in season one, I understand, like, that's all she did, so she's able to get into character more. So getting back into that character in that sense, like, so fast, and not having, like, a shit ton. She has a good amount to do with the flashbacks, but nothing, like, you know, like, that, like, extensive. So, like, I get that, but, like, gosh, she's, like, really bad at points.
Especially when it comes to the stuff that isn't the flashbacks, because at least for me,
oh my gosh, dude, that shit. Oh.
Yeah, at least like the flashbacks, there were points where I thought she was still kind of into it, but whenever she appears as this ghost to Clay, she just feels completely checked out of this
like
show.
Whatever the fuck it is, like, I don't know.
Yeah, she's just not into it anymore. Like, she'd rather be filming Knives Out or something like that. She's clearly over it, and I mean, I don't really blame her, considering that the way season one ended, it felt like a natural conclusion, so why would she still be into it? But the fact that she's so lackluster and so almost just robotic and monotone was really shocking here. She doesn't have nearly the amount of emotion, nearly the amount of passion in this role, and it just doesn't even feel like the same character, especially when she is this ghost. It doesn't feel like Hannah Baker in that sense. It's like she completely stripped away all of that, and again, you can just tell Langford is she's over this show, and it really does show here.
Yeah, no, I was extremely disappointed because I thought she was fucking amazing in the first season. Like, me saying she sucks, like, that, I'm going a bit over the top just because she's so good in the first season. To see her in this is like...
Yeah, she's pretty lackluster. I mean, she's better than, say, Miles Heizer or someone like that, but she's still...
I mean, yeah, but like,
yeah, she's still really not very good at all, which is very shocking. But again, the acting for the most part isn't really the worst thing about this season. Most of the actors do what they can to elevate the material, and it really isn't their fault that they're saddled with such dumb storylines, which I guess we'll just get into it. The directing here by Brian Yorkey, what the fuck? I mean, it's gone. Any sense? Okay, here's the thing. I have endlessly defended season 1. A lot of people say, oh, season 1's really over the top. Season 1's like a soap opera. And honestly, anyone that says that needs to watch this season, and they'll probably think differently after that, because the way this season is done, yeah, that's essentially what this turned into. It's turned into a full-on soap opera at this point, and one that just takes itself way too seriously. And here's the thing. People immediately are going to say, oh, well, Euphoria on HBO, that's a very serious show, and that takes itself seriously. Well, here's the thing. Euphoria at least tries to inject some levity in there, so it feels natural in that way. This is so deadly serious to the point where it just doesn't feel real, and there are many points where you'll find yourself laughing just because of how serious they're taking this material, and it just doesn't work at all. And it very much shows that Brian Yorkey, at least to me, didn't seem like he had any vision this time around. He just did whatever he could think of, and it really doesn't feel very cohesive. It doesn't really feel like his heart was in it this time, and it just feels very manufactured in a way. Like, he only brought back the show because it had such a huge following, and because of all the conversation that it sparked. More negative ways than bad than good, I would say, unfortunately. But I think because of all the conversation, that's why the show is back. It's not back because they had more of a story to tell. It's mainly back just because, well, they just could, and because they felt they had to give in to all of the, the popularity of it all. And that really does show in this season for sure.
The writing, directing in this is like...
Where do we even begin? Like...
I mean, my main issue, it's just like, it's not that it's like it takes it so seriously, because I feel like a show like this should take it very seriously, because it is tackling issues that are extremely complex and hard to, like, illustrate. It's just the way they do it.
Yeah.
That, like, why this way? Okay, spoilers. Like, I've already said that. Like, why do you need to have more fucking rape? Seriously. Yeah. How many times do I need to say this? The first season, they glorified the rape. I don't care what any of you say. The Hannah thing with Bryce was glorified. It did not need to fucking be there. I'm sorry. I feel that way. The Jessica stuff, though, I will fucking say this. I think it's well done in this season, okay? In the first season, it was a little bit messy, but in this year, I think it's well done until the finale. Yeah, I think it is pretty well done.
Yeah, her story was definitely, besides one other, was probably the most consistent. You really do get to see what she's been through, how this has affected her, and really how much this has forced her to kind of close herself off, and how certain choices that she would make in season 1, she doesn't make anymore. And it's very sad to see. You see her deteriorate, but you eventually do see her try to seek out that help. And I think they did a really good job with that there. And not just because of Alisha Bowe, the material they were giving her, they did actually handle in a pretty sensitive manner. There's one scene especially with her, the scene with her in like that store where she's like trying on clothes and things like that, and she has that like flashback. I thought stuff like that was really well done. It felt very real in that sense, and it really seemed like they were doing a good job of shining a light on what really happens to women that are sexually abused. And I thought that stuff was really well done for sure. And out of all the dumb shit in the midst of it all, this was one of the only consistent storylines this season. Like, I genuinely do think they did a good job with.
Yeah, no, I agree with basically everything you said there. But it's everything else they do.
Yeah.
The clubhouse stuff and then the stuff with Tyler. What the fuck?
Oh, man.
What the fuck? I mean, like, the clubhouse thing was literally only there just to keep the plot going forward.
Yep.
And literally to me, the way they resolved it was, like, so underwhelming.
Yeah, no.
Like, it's just like, like it's just like, okay, they gotta get the box of Polaroids because the fucking I honestly don't know the fucking character's name, the one that like
Fucking Nina, I think her name was.
no, not Nina, the guy that was friends with Bryce and stuff that did the
Oh, Monty.
Yeah, he is just like that whole thing was so stupid and like nothing really happened there. And then like with the court,
Yeah, and then when they think he has it and then he doesn't, like
yeah, it's like what the fuck?
It's like the definition of anticlimactic, and then where they end up going with that, it doesn't.
Yeah, and then like Nina has the fucking box of Polaroids. I'm pretty sure Nina like what the fuck? It's like
just sets it on fire. Like, what's even the point? It doesn't go anywhere.
Oh, and I'm just gonna like just like having more rape. It's like you don't need to have Bryce rape Chloe.
No.
In order for us to realize, he needs to like be brought down.
Yeah, what they could have done is like maybe he's like sort of abusive emotionally or something like that. We don't actually need to see it. Like, sure, that could be implied, but like we don't actually need to see that happen. We know what Bryce is capable of. We know that just by being with him, it's already a toxic relationship. And we know that Chloe needs to get out of it. But it seems like this season, they are spoon-feeding things to us. It's almost like they didn't think we watched the first season, so they're just rehashing a ton of things. And that leads me to easily my biggest complaint with the season, and that's the testimonies. So in the first season, you know, they did a really good job with making the narrative very riveting in that sense with the tapes and things like that. You got to learn more about each character. You saw how they were involved with Hannah, and it was kind of a mystery, but it also was a really good, you know, tackling certain subjects. This season, because of the fact that those tapes are gone, they try to replace it with the testimonies, and it doesn't really work very much at all, mainly because a lot of what we get are things we already know. There is a whole episode devoted to Courtney Crimson, you know, that character that clearly liked Hannah and that Hannah felt bad for, so like she kissed her and things like that. And all we get with her this season is basically just explaining everything we already know, but from her side. And it doesn't do anything to elevate her character. It's just like, oh, well, Courtney was in the first season, so guess we got to give her something to do. Let's just remind the audience what she's been through, because you know that was so long ago. That was episode 2.
You know, it's great. Let's just force the character to come out on the fucking stand. Like,
yeah, let's just force her to come out for whatever reason, because that's just an issue we wanna highlight, and that's the other thing.
That's my biggest fucking issue.
Yeah, by having these testimonies, it doesn't feel like a lot of them are warranted. There are a few that do feel like they're warranted, like like what they do with Justin or what they do with their parents. Or what they do with Jessica. It does develop their characters a little bit more. You get more of insight into who they are. But a lot of them feel like they had a checklist of things that they did not get to touch upon in season 1, like issues that people are going through. And they're like, all right, how can we fit this into our narrative? All right, let's just let's just have one of our characters want to shoot up the school. You know, let's have one of our characters go through depression. Let's have one of our characters have anxiety and things like that. Let's talk about distress, and let's have this stupid story with like Olivia and Andy where like they're getting a divorce and things like that. Like, it's just like, let's just try to shine a light on every personal and serious subject we can think of, and it just doesn't work at all. And after a while, it just becomes ad nauseum. It doesn't feel like they're doing anything to do it it doesn't feel like it fits organically into the narrative. It just feels like it's there because, well, they didn't get to cover it in season 1. And it's one of those things where it's like, yeah, you didn't cover it because the story didn't need it. It didn't feel like it needed this stuff. So then why would you try to insert in here? It just becomes very cynical in that way. And it's sad to see, because I do feel like season 1 had legitimate passion into it. And here it just feels like all of that is gone. It's no longer about, let's tell a story about bullying and trying to, help someone out before they decide to make irrational decisions and things like that. Now it's just an issue show, and nobody wants to watch an issue show. Those are like those after school specials serials that like our parents would watch in like the 90s or something. Like that's what this feels like at point. And all of these testimonies that we get, they just feel very tedious in that way. We get a lot of testimonies just from people that were on Hannah's tapes, characters that we've completely forgotten, like Ryan or that Marcus guy that really didn't serve a purpose into the greater narrative, and they still don't, but they kind of force them to, and it just doesn't really work at all. And also coupled with the fact that the main litigator that they have is one of the dumbest characters I have seen in a very long time. I mean, this girl, look, I understand she's trying to represent the school and things like that, but the questions that she poses to them, the ideas that she tries to, even like conceive of, it's like, how is that even plausible? Like, she tries to create this narrative that, oh, Hannah wasn't actually a good person, and that Hannah was, just trying to, blame everyone for what she did and things like that. Or Hannah did all these terrible things. And it's like, well, that doesn't at all make sense with the story you're telling. And it's not one of those things where it's like they're trying to protect the school. Like, I understand academic integrity and you want to try to protect the school's reputation and things like that. It feels like the show is genuinely trying to make us wonder, like, is Hannah actually a good person when we just went through a whole season getting us to care for her? What is the point of getting us to care for a dead character if you're going to then make us think, well, maybe they weren't actually that good? Like, I don't really see the point of that. And they really do almost, not completely, but there are moments this season where they do sort of defame some of Hannah's character. And it's very surprising, honestly, considering the story that they were telling.
That's one of my biggest issues with this fucking season.
Yeah.
Literally, I think, like, the finale, or, like, episode before the finale, episode 12 in season 1, it's when they're all at the cafe, and everyone besides Clay who's on the tapes are basically all there, and they're all talking about, you know what, guys, Hannah didn't lie about anything, she didn't, you know what, we're in the wrong here. So then all of a sudden, they're just creating drama with her. Bro, she's dead! What are you fucking doing? Like,
why do we care?
Dude. The Zach stuff especially.
Yeah.
I am sorry. I am not going with this bullshit narrative that she kept stuff off the tapes to protect people.
No, yeah.
Literally in her tape about Zach, she literally says that Zach, like, was just, like, not, like, basically just, like, not for fucking her. And that's my biggest fucking issue. So basically, she just wanted to just, like, get fucking, like, loved or have sex or whatever. Like, what? Like, no, that's not... Hannah, you're literally just creating drama for the sake of drama, and so Clay can go to the fucking edge and almost commit suicide in front of Bryce's house. Like,
yeah.
And then you have fucking the ghost of Hannah in that scene, just replaying the tape about Bryce raping her.
But yeah, that was so weird.
She was funny. It was funny, like unintentionally funny. It was so ridiculous. It's like, I just don't get it. It's disrespectful to the character. Now look. I think there is definitely criticism to be had about the character of Hannah and the tapes. Like, was it, like, does it make her, like, a good person, quote unquote? I think she was a good person. Yeah. But, like, yes, there is criticism to be had with the tapes and how she went about it. But to literally have this court case literally just happen, basically just to create drama, because it originally was supposed to be about the justice for Hannah, but then they try to make it about it at the end when they lose the case. But like, throughout the season, it never feels like that.
No, it feels
nor
like
do I think they actually really cared about that as much as creating drama.
Yeah, that, and it seemed like they were trying to expand on characters that didn't need it. And by doing that, it also made me realize a lot of these characters kind of fucking suck.
I agree.
There's a lot of characters here that just aren't very good. We did talk about Jessica. She's really good. The only character I feel like that benefits from the expansion is Justin. I do think they do a good job with fleshing him out a bit more. We find out that he's homeless and things like that. He comes from this broken family. He has very severe drug abuse, and you see Clay and him trying to help him out, him trying to keep him from going over the edge, him trying to get him clean, and it's a genuinely really good story. And what we get with him in his testimony, where we find out that he's been friends with Bryce, and you see how hard it is for him to be against him and, testify against him and things like that, you really do feel it. You feel like, okay, Justin knows what's at stake here. He knows he could get himself in trouble, but he doesn't care. He knows that Bryce needs to be, brought to justice for what he did. And I really liked seeing that. I think they did a really good job with developing him. The way they go about the Clay and Justin friendship, it actually feels very natural. These two genuinely do get closer. And again, it's one of the only things this season that feels like, okay, this is actually building on something. This is giving us something from season one, and something, it's giving us something that we didn't have in season one. And it feels justified in that way. But everything else this season doesn't feel justified at all. It feels like it's just here so they can continue with the show. And that leads me to one of the dumbest storylines, and basically the thing that made me not want to watch this season, where they end up going with the Alex story. So as we know, at the end of season one, presumably Alex committed suicide. We didn't really know what ended up happening there.
No, he shot himself and he was in severe condition, but he lived.
Yeah, but a lot of people speculated before that he actually was a goner. And so we come back from the season. He has lived, but he's on a crutch, and he has completely lost any recollection of what happened in the first season. So basically, just listen to what I'm saying here. He spends an entire season basically recounting memories of things that we've already seen him learn from the first season. So everything that he learned in the first season, he learns here again. So it just makes his character feel just like he's in a circle. It doesn't feel like we learned anything new about him.
But Kevin, you want to know what is brutally dumb about Alex? The fucking masturbation stuff and the
oh my god, what was that?
Literally, they introduced that, and they have
doesn't go anywhere.
They have the cam girl thing, and then that's it for so long, and then they wrap it up in the finale when he's with Zach playing video games. He's like, "Hey Zach, I beat off 3 times this morning, man. It was pretty good." Why? That's it. That's literally it.
It doesn't go anywhere. You thought maybe they go. I heard some people think maybe he'd be asexual or something like that, but that's not at all where they end up taking him.
On that, it's no. They also try to set up in it with the scene with Zach where they're fighting in the locker room that he might be bisexual, and that goes nowhere. It's never brought up again.
Yeah, it's not. Again, it's just it reiterates the idea that they had a checklist. They felt, okay, we need to do these specific things, but they don't build on them. They will briefly address the issue, and that's kind of it. They won't actually expand upon it, and that's what really pissed me off about this season. And storylines like that, I just thought were really dumb, not only because of what they end up doing with Alex to the point where it feels like him, shooting himself feels so pointless. It doesn't really go much of anywhere. And I didn't really think he was that great of a character in season one. I didn't think they really handled him very well. And I thought this season we'd get more stuff with him. But if anything, they just give him the same exact stuff. They give him more stuff this season, but he does not change all that much at all this season. Aside from the fact that he knows he fucked up. I mean, again, you already learned that in season one. We already knew that, he felt bad about, not stopping Hannah from getting raped and things like that. This is stuff we already explored.
We didn't know that in season one. That's one of the dumbest things about it. It's at least to me, we didn't fucking know that. We literally had that's one of my biggest issues with the whole fucking show existing. When they were making this, it was not supposed to be a miniseries. Because if you pay close enough attention in season one, they dropped so many hints. The biggest one always being Tyler with the guns and stuff. But they fucking knew. They fucking knew that they wanted to make a fucking season 2 and literally glorify every single fucking issue now at this fucking point. And that's fucking disgusting. And also, with the Alex stuff, it's not even realistic. I was reading someone say about this, and look, obviously I'm not a fucking doctor. What if he shot himself in the fucking head?
He'd be dead!
How is the only... Okay, you might be able to live from it, because I've heard stories of people living from it. And, the way they explained it, I guess, makes sense, but,
Not really.
I think it didn't go for, his brain went through his skull or something. I'm not sure exactly what it fucking was.
To me, it just felt lazy. They just needed an excuse.
No, but my biggest fucking issue is the crutch. Him with the crutch.
Oh, yeah.
He wouldn't be able to fucking speak, probably.
Yeah. He'd have permanent brain damage.
Exactly, but at the same time, it's he explained it didn't his brain. I don't remember. It's just it's just so dumb. And then they try to create the drama between him and Jessica, and and being, he can't, be like himself or whatever.
Oh,
and
yeah,
then,
he's, like,
and then,
abandoning
and
all
then
his friends.
they go to the fucking, the spring formal together or something. They're having fun. The next thing you know, Jessica just fucks Justin to Selena Gomez music in the boys' locker room. It's like, what the fuck is this show doing? Like, I don't get it.
Yeah, and we'll get to that, of course.
We'll get to that soon. We have a lot to say about the finale, but
Yeah, I'm gonna have to cut that out now. Fuck you.
no, you don't have to.
Because we didn't get to the finale yet.
Who cares? Leave it in. It was a good point.
Okay, whatever. But all right. So the other storyline though, that is really dumb this season, besides the Alex stuff, is what they end up doing with Clay. Now, Clay, of course, he is the main character of this season, but where they end up going with him, besides the Justin stuff, is genuinely very confusing. It feels like they have ran out of reasons to keep Clay on the show, and they're trying to give reasons to, justify why he's still the main character. And what they give him this season, it's just very hard to tell where they're going. He starts off and immediately he's with Sky, of all people.
Oh my god. Let me talk about this fucking thing. What the actual hell?
Oh my god.
You're telling me Clay, who is madly in love with Hannah, decides, you know what? This girl, Sky here, the one who we've been having so much tension with the whole first season, and literally said Hannah was weak for killing herself. You know what?
Yeah.
I'm gonna get with her.
Yeah, it's not so much the idea.
What?
It's not so much the idea that he's with another girl. It's that he's with fucking Sky, of all people.
Sky's a horrible character.
She's a terrible character.
She's such a bad character.
Yeah, and the way they try to make you feel for her is really bad. Her entire arc consists of, Clay isn't giving her affection, and she wants him to get over Hannah immediately, and things like that. There's a scene where she goes over to his parents' house for dinner.
Oh my god, this was
literally admits to them that they're having sexual relations and things like that. And then,
but that's a fucking lie, because Clay can't get hard because he thinks about Hannah. It's like,
no, and every scene she's like, and throughout the scene she's like rubbing his crotch and things like that. And then literally, remember, the parents are still downstairs. They literally goes upstairs to fuck him. They end up not having sex because he can't get hard or whatever. And
no, it was part of that. And then he saw that she was cutting herself again.
Yeah, that too. They have to constantly keep rehashing the fact that she's cutting herself, as if it's hard for us to understand. There's nothing else to this character except that she is cutting herself. She has some kind of bipolar disorder, but she ends up walking out on Clay. And the next time we see her, basically she walks out. He notices there's like an ambulance or whatever. The next time we see her, she's like in the ICU. She's trying to recover and things like that. And then that's it. She ends up transferring schools, and we never hear about her again. And you just
you don't. Literally in episode 8 or something, he goes to find her at the rehab.
Yeah, after that, we never see her again.
Yeah, because then now she just transfers. It's literally a pointless fucking character.
Yeah,
honestly, it's literally only there. She's horrible in the first season, but now it makes no fucking sense. It's like, and I mean, episode 2. I mean, that whole thing with like the ambulance and stuff. I mean, it's a perfect scene just because of the thing with Hannah, where Hannah's like, "You're sure like complicated girls." 10 seconds later,
It's so dumb.
Stupid. Yeah, Sky's a horrible fucking character. I don't know why the fuck they're together. That was one of my issues at the ending of season 1. Like the finale's really good, and like they just like become friends. It's like why you're just supposed to forgive them now because I'm talking to Mr. Porter. It's like, you know what? I'm gonna talk to this girl who's literally been an absolute fucking like asshole to me. It's like, I'll just talk to her. I'll get with her. It's like,
yeah, it doesn't really work at all. And then aside from that, the other part of his story is whatever the hell is going on with this ghost Hannah, which this whole story doesn't really make any sense whatsoever. And look, you guys would say, okay, Kevin, well, one of your favorite shows has done your favorite show has done something just like this. And yeah, The Leftovers did do something like this. However, Patty coming back in The Leftovers, it feels justified in that way. It feels like there's a reason for her to come back because of the regrets and things like that. It makes sense why she's back. Here, it's very hard to tell why Hannah is back, what her actual motivation is. And when we eventually get to her motivation, it doesn't really make any sense. It feels like the only reason that she's here is because they wanted to keep Katherine Langford on the show. They want her to still be in the show in some kind of substantial form, and that's kind of it. And it just is very hard to tell, like, what they're really trying to do with her. We eventually do get a reveal that she's here because, she wants him to forgive her. But, like, what is he even to forgive her for? Like, how is he supposed to know that
Or
last
like
time...
lying about like Zach and Justin and
Yeah,
Bryce
exactly. Like, it doesn't really make any sense whatsoever for, like, oh, I'm just here because I want you to forgive me. Whereas it would make far more sense if her reasoning was, you need to forgive yourself. You need to forgive yourself for the grief and the fact that you feel guilt for, my death and things like that. You need to forgive yourself, and I'm not going to leave until you do. But that's not where they end up going with it. And there are multiple points in this season where Kane and I were at a loss. Like, can people hear him? Can they not? Is she actually there? Like, is he
like
just
so
losing
weird.
his
It's like,
mind? They're not very clear with what's actually going on here.
dude, and then once like people figure out like what's happening lately, the Justin stuff, it's hilarious in like the wrong ways. And dude, my biggest issue is like in the season 1, when like he would randomly see Hannah in like the hallways, I thought that was actually like it made sense because like
Yeah, it made sense.
he's just so like involved with it and like he feels like the presence is still there. But
Yeah.
to literally have her talk and just explain to Clay like everything that's happening is just so stupid.
It also feels very patronizing in that way.
It does.
We can't tell what's going on.
Ruining the character of Hannah, which like
Yeah.
regardless if you think her doing the tapes and the way that she committed suicide was bad, like the way that they treat her in this season makes no sense at all.
It feels like they have no care for her.
Doesn't help because the ghost of Hannah like sucks and like
Yeah, she's so emotionless.
Exactly, like I get it, like it's Clay like imagining like her being there and like guiding him through it, but like they're not even doing well. That they don't. Also, here's the other fucking thing. If I was talking to someone and they were saying to me like the stuff with the ghost of Hannah, it works. So he's like this somewhat works because it's trying to show how Clay views Hannah in a perfect way when she wasn't a perfect person. But you don't even need to make that fucking point because Clay was just in love with her.
Yeah.
They were like a perfect fucking match, and the show gets that across well enough. It's like, and like also like I understand they're trying to go through like the stages of grief and stuff, but the way they do it is horrible, and it's like a soap opera, and it's done in a really. Also, the scenes with like the vision of Hannah are super uncomfortable and weird. It's just weird. It's like ugh.
There's especially that scene where like he tries to kiss her and things like that.
That was so weird.
And then there
are oh my god, the scene with Sky in episode 2 at the picnic.
I was just gonna bring that up. There are even points in the show where even though you have a character like Sky who has completely defamed Hannah's character and basically has just talked shit about her, for some reason she wants Clay to be with her and she thinks that Sky's a good person for Clay to be with. It doesn't, not only does it ruin her character, it doesn't feel like the same character. It just feels like it's Hannah, but it's not Hannah. It's a body that looks like Hannah, but what's being said and articulated is not Hannah. And it's just very strange in that way.
Dude, it's also disrespected people with mental illness because this whole fucking season makes it look like if you have any type of mental illness, you just can't be in a romantic relationship.
Yeah, which is not true.
Like, the thing that was so tragic about Hannah was that she was like such a nice fucking person that like hid her demons really, really fucking well. And so it's like and like the thing too, it's like Hannah would not want Clay to be with Sky.
No.
Would not. Okay, like Sky. Look. To me, Sky is the definition of someone with a mental illness who just is a fucking asshole, okay?
She's a bitch, yeah.
Because here's the fucking thing. To me, it's like fucking this. It's like I feel like a lot of people who have fucking, like me, like fucking depression, anxiety. It's like, you can be a fucking asshole, but it's like, you need to be compassionate enough to realize that, like, okay, I'm this way for this fucking reason. You gotta fucking move on. Like, okay, Hannah was sometimes that fucking way. Like in episode 11 when they were trying to have sex and she freaked out. Like, that was well done. With Sky, she's just a fucking bitch. Like, that's all she is. Like, she's so
yeah, she's one of those people that tries to justify her being a bitch by, like, constantly bringing up her, like, mental illness and things like that.
Why does she constantly bring up, like, fucking Hannah to him? It's like, even if she wanted to, she's so mean about it.
Yeah. And it doesn't feel like it comes from a place of compassion. Like, I know you're hurting right now, but you have to try to get over her. It's like, no, get over her or you're going to lose me. Like, she's not patient about it all. She just kind of like rushes the entire thing. And so because of that, you don't give a shit about this relationship, but you also wonder why this Hannah ghost cares so much about that relationship and wants Clay to invest time in it. It just doesn't really make any sense in that way. And like what they, and again, in contrast, what they do with the leftovers with Patty, she's presented as kind of a red herring in that way, where she's addressing all the things that Kevin is ignoring in that show. Whereas here, Hannah is kind of toxic in that way, where she's representing all the things that Clay shouldn't be doing, and she tells him to do it anyway. So it's like, what's even going on here? It's very weird. Like, you would think that she'd be like his conscience or something, but it's more like the bad side of his conscience that tells him to do stupid shit.
Dude,
So
and the thing that sucks too is like the show, it tries to handle so many of these topics with like the worst possible characters.
yeah.
It's like I want to get into the fucking Tyler stuff, dude.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. So the worst stuff this season, regardless of everything else we've talked about, nothing, and I mean absolutely nothing, compares to what they do with fucking Tyler, who, look, season 1, I was indifferent to him. I didn't really think much of him at all. He was a character. I kept forgetting he was on the show, to be honest, because they really did not give him that much to do. This season, they try to expand upon him, and it was absolutely a mistake, because here's the thing. You have a character like Jessica or Justin, and yes, these characters have been through things, but they still feel like characters. Tyler is just a walking cliche, and that's really all he is. Besides a character like Bryce, he is the definition of a cliche. He's just someone who gets bullied, and he's very vehemently affected by it, and because of that, he starts to act out. And that's it. There's nothing else to him. He gets bullied, he's really awkward, and eventually he decides to shoot up the entire school. And that's it.
Dude, you want to know what I was thinking about? I was thinking about this in the shower. I don't know why, but I was thinking about this in the shower. If you think about this, when they were setting up the school shooting at the end of season 1, they also were planning the broom scene already. How disgusting is that?
Yeah. That's
Like,
true.
like what the fuck are I mean,
Oh yeah, and you think the school shooting is going to happen like throughout the season, but it doesn't happen until the very end, which is interesting, considering that season 1 makes you think it's going to happen like really soon, whereas season 2 it doesn't happen until.
It just drags. They drag it out.
Yeah, everything feels dragged out. Everything. And we'll get to that in a little bit, but yeah, season 2, like what they do with Tyler, the whole season. His entire arc, first of all, is completely pointless where they end up taking him. It feels completely pointless. He's with this guy who like is clearly a very bad influence for him. And then he's got this sister that Tyler likes, but that he completely treats like shit. Yet for some reason, she still wants to be with him because she thinks so little of herself, apparently.
Oh, God, it's like start with fucking Chloe.
Yeah, and then fucking and then everything he gets involved in, it just, and then of course just the cherry on top of it all is probably the worst scene of the show, and that's the fucking mop scene. Everything about this scene, look, I've defended season 1 as much as I possibly can, but this is the definition of just a gratuitous scene that is only here to get people like us to talk about it. That's the only reason why it's here. It's not here for any reason other than just we needed a scene like the suicide scene in season 1 because people talked about it, and we want to do something like that again. And that alone just tells you how cynically made this entire season is, how little they care. Yeah, how little they care about these characters. They don't care about these characters. They just care about getting them from point A to point B. All they care about with Tyler is to get him so that he can get a broom shoved up his ass, and then this will then get him to retaliate, want to shoot up the school, only at the last moment for him not to do it. And it just makes you question, like, why did you spend all of this time with him? What was the point of even being with that storyline with that one chick? What was the point of him being with this guy other than, oh, he's just falling down the wrong path and things like that? The whole thing just feels so dragged out and pointless, and the only scene that really feels like it matters is now the mop scene, unfortunately. And that's very sad to say, considering just how shoehorned in it really does feel.
Dude, I mean, I can't believe they actually did this. And also,
Yeah.
it's Brian Yorkey who's the creator, right?
Yep.
His defense is fucking pathetic.
It's the
He
worst.
literally just basically admits it's just for shock value.
Yep.
Like, he literally fucking says in his defense, like, well, you know, if you see the scene, like, you can't help but feel bad for Tyler. No fucking shit, dude!
Yeah, like,
like
of
are you
course.
fucking stupid? No shit, we're gonna
In other
get back
words,
to-
the grass
He's
is green.
literally getting raped.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, it's like the sexual assault in the show is so fucking glorified. It annoys me. They handle it so poorly, and then, oh my god, dude, just the mop scene. I don't know what they were thinking. And we'll get to the school shooting aspect, but like, to have that and then have him try to shoot up the school is maybe the worst character arc I've like ever seen. And now in season 2, apparently like one of the main plot aspects besides to kill Bryce is protecting Tyler. Like what the fuck? What the fuck? Like I just like I don't get it, dude. It's like, look,
Yeah.
The mop scene is one of the most like fucked up things I've ever seen for no reason.
It's extremely tasteless. It's
Now, okay,
very-
also, just to clarify to people, I finished season 1 a few days after they removed the suicide scene in the finale, Hannah's suicide scene. I went back and watched the suicide scene. I couldn't stop thinking about it for like 2 or 3 days because I thought it was actually really well done. This mop scene is just shock value. Because I don't think the suicide scene in season 1 was meant for shock value.
No.
I think it should have been there in the place, considering this is a Netflix show that is TVMA, but it's for teens, it's for 13 to 14-year-olds. You know, they should not be fucking watching a girl literally, like, in the most graphic way you could film possible, literally killing herself.
Yeah.
It's like, look, literally me, like, even though I'm only 16, if I was, like, watching the show back when I was 13 or 14, like, I would personally feel I shouldn't be watching this. But obviously, like, I'm older now, so it's like I'm able to comprehend that stuff better. But it's like, even though the suicide scene I think is well done, it shouldn't be there. So then to have this mop scene is just disgusting, and then to literally stereotype him with the fucking haircut and the camo pants and the pistols and the fucking
Bro,
AK.
the second he showed up with that haircut, I was like, Jesus Christ.
It's like, what are they doing? It's like, and then I mean, should we just get into the fucking final scene with Clay and Tyler?
We should just get into the finale overall. Just talk about how fucking awfully written it is. Because, look, here's the thing with the finale. The first half of the finale isn't really all that bad. It feels like a genuine, like, really good conclusion. But even though I do feel that way, it also works against the show because the entire finale, the first half just feels like a series of final scenes. That's all it really feels like. It feels like, okay, this could be like the scene where Jessica is talking about how Bryce raped her and things like that, and then you have all those other victims. It's like, okay, this could be the final scene of the season. Then you have that scene with Clay and Hannah and them on that bench. Okay, this could be the final scene of the season. Then you have that scene with the eulogy, and it's like, okay, this could be the final scene. Then the scene with Clay and Olivia, and this could be the final scene. And then even after that scene, there's still like 50 minutes left to go in the episode. It's fucking ridiculous. This episode is so padded out, and there's so many things that they just completely negate. They essentially make almost every single arc this season completely pointless at the end of the day. The Hannah stuff is dealt with very quickly. After the 40-minute mark, it's basically no longer a part of the show.
Okay, I will say this though. Like, the actual, like, the scene where Clay was giving the speech and then Hannah goes off into the light with the doors was beautiful.
Yeah, that was really...
It was beautiful. Like the final shot of Katherine Langford just walking out into, like going to, like, heaven or whatever, like, that was actually, like, really artistically well done.
Yeah, that was a great scene, yeah.
And Dylan Minnette was fucking incredible in that scene.
Yeah.
And it's like after that,
I thought was the scene with him and Olivia. I thought was really good too, where she's talking about like she wished she knew him and like when she was still alive and things like that. I thought that was a really good scene. But again, I was just sitting there like, this could be like the last episode of the show. Like, what is the point of dragging this out?
And that's what's so shitty about this fucking finale. Because look, I legitimately think the first like 25 to 30 minutes, I think that's like all the Hannah stuff is, because the rest of the episode's about like Tyler and stuff and the dance.
Yeah.
I think it's okay. I think the Clay and the Hannah stuff's pretty well done. I like the stuff between Clay and Justin. I like how
where he agrees to adopt Justin and things like that. His family's gonna adopt Justin now, and it makes sense because again, that's one of the only things this season that benefits from that longer length, because we're able to develop that relationship more. So it feels like when his family decides to adopt Justin, it feels like, okay, this is a natural story. This is a natural point for them. They've got.
I genuinely like the relationship that Clay and Justin have.
Same. I think it's one of the best parts of this season.
And it's just like, and oh my god, dude. The heroin stuff. What are they doing?
Yeah, so then, okay.
What are they doing?
So
like,
because
Okay, look, I'll talk about more about this part, but like, when it comes to the heroin stuff,
oh my god,
I appreciated how they wanted to tackle an issue like that, and I thought it was well done. Like, when he was detoxing, and then when he went back to it, and like he almost like chokes on his vomit and stuff when Alex saves him, I thought it was actually well done. Like,
that was really good.
I thought it was well done. It was showing like how like sad it is and how hard it is for a drug addict to like detox and get off of it. But for Justin, to what I assume at that point hasn't taken heroin in like 2 months or whatever, it's like, look, now I'm not saying that is like enough time for people who are on that type of drug to get over it. But the direction the character is going in, you do not make him get hooked on heroin again.
Yeah, no.
It does not. It just does not fucking work. And then it makes it even worse when he hooks up with fucking Jessica. But we'll get to that in a second. But it's just like. It's so it doesn't need to be there.
It's character retraction. That's all it is. It's character retraction. He was at a place where he was trying to make an effort to get over it. And sure, it's hard. I get it. But like, they've already kind of addressed that. Like, what should have happened in this final episode was him maybe going to rehab or something and him trying to get over it. Like, he should try to, like, get over it. He shouldn't be back on the heroin.
That's my issue.
And the way they handle it just...
The character has such a great support system around him. Yeah. But he goes back to it. No, that's not the direction you take the character in. I'm sorry. The show is not the right show to tackle issues like this.
No.
It's just not, because the way they're doing it does not make sense narratively.
And it feels very disingenuous.
Sorry if that's insensitive, but him going back, him getting hooked onto heroin again, I don't even know. Also, you want to know what they're doing? They're also partially doing it so when Jessica finds out that he was on heroin when they were fucking in the locker room, she's gonna be pissed at him. It's like I don't fucking get it. It's like they're like, they're literally.
It does, and it just feels. And again,
it's offensive. It's honestly offensive.
Yeah, it just feels like something they're doing just for shock value, just so we can be like, oh shit, he's on heroin again. It doesn't feel like something they're doing because it makes sense for the storyline. It just feels like something they did so we can again talk about it. And then the worst thing they do, besides the shooting stuff, is where they end up going with Jessica. So, like we said, they're almost the season. The stuff with her is really good.
To me, that's even worse than the heroin thing, honestly.
Yeah, no, it's like I said, no, it's definitely the second worst thing about this episode besides the Tyler stuff. But yeah, so most of the season, the stuff with her is really good. They do a good job with showing her trying to, get over what Bryce has done and, getting her involved with other victims of sexual abuse. That relationship she has with that girl is really good and things like that. And then the scene where, you see her and finally seems like she's bringing Bryce to justice. She's in a good place. But the thing is, even after all that, she's not just going to be over it. She's not going to be in a place where she's just willing to...
And they even bring that up. When Alex basically asks her out to the dance, she even says that!
Yeah, she says she's not looking for a relationship.
It's like... And then, like, at the cafe, like, she looks at Justin when she's not over Justin. I would not be mad if they kept a storyline going in season 3 about how she's not over Justin and how she needs closure with him. But the way they do it here literally ruins the entire storyline for me. Like, I don't care how well done it was with, like, the Bryce stuff and bringing him to justice. It ruins it all.
Yeah, it's all pointless. The whole thing of her fucking Justin now, it just doesn't work. It doesn't work anymore. It makes the whole thing feel like they didn't actually care.
And also, let me also preface this. Was it Alex who said to Jessica, like, when they were going to get drinks, like, it wasn't alcoholic? So she clearly wasn't on the influence of anything. And look, I know this is going to be a bit harsh and that I shouldn't be saying this because I'm not trying to generalize rape victims because it's a very personal experience. But I personally would think with a character like Jessica, who is so in tune with how she wants to recover from this, she wouldn't just go into the locker room and fuck him without protection. I don't get it.
She also wouldn't be able to.
Also, she literally tries to ignore him for most of the season. Literally tells him that she wants him to kill himself at the cafeteria in episode 6, and then all of a sudden they're just talking again in episode like 11 and 12.
It feels like we missed something. And here's the thing. There's 13 episodes this season, yet it still feels like there's something missing there. Like there was a conversation that these two should have had that we didn't see. And I feel like
they just are randomly talking and there's no closure. Yeah. So like the way they get back together is fucking in the locker room? No! Also, she literally, it just makes Jessica look like extremely untrustworthy because she's literally dating Alex now, and they're just trying to create more love triangles to make it literally like fucking Pretty Little Liars or Riverdale without the fucking gangs. It's like what are they doing? It's fucking horrible.
Yeah, it just
disrespectful.
It makes all of the good work they did with Jessica, like I said, with her going to those like therapy sessions and things like that, her getting more in touch with, who she is and her trying to get over it. The whole thing now just seems pointless. And now what? You're going to have Chloe be pregnant so we can do like an abortion storyline.
Apparently Chloe and Zach are going to be together in season 3.
Yeah, and I guarantee you they're going to tackle like abortion or something because that's one of the only things
fucking God, I didn't even think about that. Oh my God, they're literally going to do that.
They have to. That's one of the only things they haven't tackled.
Holy shit, I didn't even think about that. Oh my God, this show is trying to be like social justice warrior to like the extreme, and it's like it should not be.
Yeah, it's really, really bad. But then of course,
dude, imagine we literally get a whole episode debating if abortion's okay or not. Like,
oh my God. But it's not like the BoJack Horseman episode where they handle it like in a funny way. It's like deadly serious and shit, and it doesn't work at all, and it feels like a PSA.
Dude, like
you want to see an episode where they
handle that stuff between Bryce and Chloe is so bad because it's like it makes it like to me it's like if Chloe was on the stand and like then like was afraid to like testify against Bryce, okay,
that's what I thought they were doing at first.
The way it's done is just horrible because like she's like so back and forth, which I can understand. If I was in the situation, it'd be very hard to like know what to do. But it's like she goes to testify against him and then wants to get back together with him. And then she gets pregnant, and then all of a sudden now Bryce is murdered. Like what?
Yeah, and that's something else I was gonna say. Like at first, I was okay with the idea of Chloe, testifying for him because of the fact that she clearly felt like she was afraid of him and she knew what he could do. But then when they're together in the library, it's almost as if she still cares about him, even though she just said to Jessica that like
it's like if they're trying to tackle the issue.
Especially since the scene before that, she tells Jessica, like, I was the one who put up the pictures, I'm sorry about that. It seems like she's on her side. So, like,
I forgot about that
shit. Even on, like...
And now she's... I don't get what they're, like... She's
what are they even doing with her?
Character. And it's like, I don't get it. It's like...
Yeah.
She's literally like the dumb blonde for no reason.
That's all she is.
It's just stereotyping. It's like ridiculous. The whole show is just stereotypes at this point. Besides fucking like Clay, I guess. I don't fucking know. I mean, Clay.
Speaking of Clay, we got to get to the best part of this episode for sure. The best part.
Honestly, to me, this might just be like, besides like the mop scene, like the worst scene in the whole show. The fucking last scene.
Okay, so. What ends up happening is...
Wait. You want to know what we forgot to talk about, though? We forgot to talk about the stuff with Tony and the guy at the gym who...
They for some reason decide to give Tony more development this season, and it feels very...
He doesn't need it. He's such a perfect character already. So, like, apparently him and, like, Ryan got together, and then, like, there was a guy who was, like throwing, like, slurs at them and stuff.
Yeah, that guy that he was with in season 1, they broke up, apparently, for some reason.
Yeah, so like, apparently, like, Tony, like, beat the everlasting shit out of this guy, and now he's on probation. So he's with this guy at, like, this boxing place who, like, I guess, like, is boxing there. So the guy's there, and then like, he testifies about it, and then, like...
And then it's never brought up again!
Well, it's brought up when, like, they break up, and then they get back together. What happened to the guy that was there? Was he kicked out? Like what happened?
Yeah.
Also, there's something with Justin with his parents. What was up with the fucking guy that was dating Justin's mom in the car watching Clay and Justin in the cafe? Like, what's gonna happen there? Is he gonna try to kill Justin now? It's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, it's just.
But dude. No one talks about this scene. Probably people do, but I haven't seen much about it. The fucking scene with the song that Clay and Hannah liked a lot, where everyone just comes together and Clay's
Oh,
like,
dude, that scene went on for fucking ever. Oh
like,
my god.
Why? It was literally just there to hit the feels.
Well, that, and so we could have that narration of Clay being like, "I've never felt this happy in a while," or something like that.
Dude, that's my biggest fucking issue with the finale. Is like the way they try to build up the tension, everything so happy, and then the mop scene happens, and they're like, "Oh shit, Tyler's gonna shoot up the school." That way of building tension is like they're trying to make it like Hitchcocky, where you know what's gonna happen, but the characters in the film don't. But the way they do it is actually horrible. And then like they all come back together, but to me it's like. Does anyone besides Tony know about that song and the connection that it had between Hannah and Clay? I don't think so, because I don't remember him bringing it up to anyone besides Tony, who gave him the cassette, because the night that they were at the homecoming dance, I think it was homecoming. I forgot what it was. It might have been spring formal. But Tony was DJing, so we gave him the tape of the cassette of the song. So like, how does like I don't get it. Like everyone just comes there to console Clay, and it's like. It's like, and then the Tyler stuff. It's like, dude, the fact that they've been setting this up for so long to do school shootings, and the way they do is, like, I don't know. Like, first of all, why the fuck would Tyler text him he's gonna do that?
Yeah, it's not.
He literally only fucking did that. So literally, they could have the scene with him and Clay and be this big emotional moment of Clay, like, I don't want you to die. I don't want you to get hurt.
But it's like,
he's trying to fucking murder you. Yeah. Literally, they all fucking say, okay, we gotta call the police. We gotta board up the doors. And Clay's like, no, I'm just gonna go talk to him with fucking AK on my fucking neck.
It makes Clay look really dumb.
Fucking bullets into me and I'm dead. Dude, that whole fucking last scene. Look, Dylan Minnette was fine, and I guess
he did a good job.
Like, the dialogue was horrendous.
Yeah.
And then Justin and Jessica just like randomly coming out. Clay, are you okay?
Oh, and then the scene with Tony where he's like, "Get in!"
Like, why are they trying to protect Tyler? I don't get it, dude. It makes no sense. Also, yeah, I hate to bring this up, but in real life, Clay'd be dead. He'd be fucking. Yeah.
He would.
Okay, Tyler is a fucking sociopath. Yeah. And literally, I don't know why are they trying to protect him. Just board up the fucking doors because you barricade the doors because you had time. You had a few minutes to fucking do it.
And he was walking like so slowly, like he wasn't even like.
I know. It's like, and it's just like, and he was like a one. He was like a one man. They knew who he fucking was. They know how he looks like. It's like, so the police could have came. He could have been there at the doors with fucking guns, and he could have got him. It's like, oh.
Yeah, and I said this to Kate when we were watching. Like, if this was any other character, like, let's say hypothetically, Alex or Zach or Justin tried to stop him, they'd be fucking dead. Exactly. The only reason that Clay is still alive is because he's the main character. And at this point, honestly, I don't even know why. Like, I don't even know what Clay's even gonna do in this show anymore, because the Hannah stuff's pretty much done. What's even the point of continuing? I don't even know anymore. But this whole scene, it just feels so forced in that way. You can tell that all season it's been building up to this, but at the same time, it feels very unearned because of what they were doing with Tyler up to this point. So it feels very unearned, but it also feels very forced in that way, and it just.
I honestly agree with people that they should have just had him shoot up the fucking school and get killed. Because that would have just made more sense, okay? It would have been more impactful, okay?
And now it just feels like they're...
now season 3 is about protecting Tyler. Why do you want to protect him?
Yeah, for what reason? Because Monty's a piece of shit?
I don't get it. It's like, honestly, I hate to fucking say it, but if he literally wants to shoot up the school, I don't care. He's a human being. He should be fucking killed. Okay?
Yeah.
That's just my own fucking personal fucking belief. Because literally,
I'm pretty sure most people share that.
But here's the fucking thing. Like, what did he say in the text exactly? Was it like a manifesto of some sorts? It's like, I don't get it. Like, literally, they're just doing it to make it a soap opera. It's literally Riverdale without the gangs, like you fucking said.
Well, most people, when they shoot up the school, they don't say they're gonna shoot up the school. They just do it, you know. Like they'll send like they'll have a manifesto, but it doesn't say specifically what they're gonna do. It's like, you know, like a poem of some sort. So it just it just doesn't really work at all. And yeah, so
It's literally just like deflated tension.
yeah.
It's like a bad jump scare. Honestly, it's like I don't. And then like this like, I don't want you to die. Like, are you serious, Clay? He wants
like,
you to die. He wants to murder you. It's like
he doesn't care about any of you fuckers.
fucking like what are they gonna do? It's like also it makes no sense because apparently season 3 takes place 8 months after. Like, what happened in those 8 months? How they protected Tyler?
Yeah, what's with all
How
these?
do you protect him for 8 months?
Yeah, like what happened? It's very very strange for sure. But I guess the last thing we'll talk about is, like I said, the pacing of the season is absolutely horrible.
Oh, it's
I
so
know
bad.
the show is called 13 Reasons Why, I get that, but there really was no reason for this season to be 13 episodes. It feels very forced in that way. It feels like the only reason they did it is because the other season was. They honestly could have just made this a movie. They could have addressed the same things, and it wouldn't feel nearly as dragged out. It would have felt like you still could have gotten Jessica to the place that she was without the Justin stuff. You still could have gotten Justin to that place where him and Clay got closer, and you could have ended the show on a nice note. You could have ended the show with Clay getting over, Hannah and things like that, being able to move on and get to a place where, he doesn't feel that regret anymore. You get that scene with him and Olivia, and you could have ended things really nicely, but no. This season is clearly just made to make this a serialized show. They don't want this to be a limited series anymore. They want to make this a full-on teen drama, and it very much does show here, and it just comes across as very disingenuous and honestly rather disgusting. And it's just, it really makes me, it makes me feel bad that I ever defended the show. It really does, because like I thought season 1 was genuinely really good, but at this point, they clearly have forgotten what made the show good, what the original goal of the show really was. And at this point, I don't even know what the goal of this show is anymore. It just, there are so many directions.
Basically, like, all, like, the great characters and the only good characters left, they fucking ruined.
Yeah.
Like there's no more Mr. Porter as well. Like, they literally only got rid of Mr. Porter just so shit could go down.
Yeah, the only reason Mr. Porter's gone is so you don't have that one rational teacher. No, you have, like, the coach or whatever who...
You have the fucking principal who's a fucking, like, idiot.
Oh, yeah, the fucking fight scene where, like, the fucking...
Oh, my God, the fight scene was
when he
so
tries to get
stupid.
Mr. Porter to, like...
I forgot about that shit. Oh, yeah, we're, like, Mr. Porter and the coach, like, for fighting. Like,
what the hell was that?
So, like, did the coach get fired? Like, because, like, Mr.
Should have.
Like,
He was worse than Mr. Porter.
Like, fucking stupid. It's like so dumb. Like, and look, I understand like they were setting up the Mr. Porter stuff where he was gonna like quit anyways, but it's just like, why do you fire him, but you don't fire the people who are defending fucking Bryce Walker?
Yeah, it doesn't really make sense. And, like, sure, I understand they're trying to get with the narrative that, like, the athletes are protected and things like that. Because, yeah, that does happen a lot.
Because that does happen. But, like, the way they're doing it with, like, the clubhouse and stuff.
Yeah, no, it feels very
offensive.
Yeah, it doesn't feel like it doesn't feel like they're defending them necessarily, but it doesn't feel like they're treating them as the enemy.
Dude, the clubhouse stuff is
really
so pointless because really nothing comes out of it really besides realizing that Chloe was raped and that Nina was. It's just like it's just there to reinforce that Bryce is horrible and just glorify the sexual assault. Like, it's so dumb.
We already knew that Bryce is a piece of shit.
Also, what's the theme gonna be for season 3? Because season 1 was the tapes, this was the Polaroids. What's gonna be season 3?
Interrogations in a court, in like a police station or whatever. I don't know. I mean, the finale was the first episode that didn't have like some kind of testimony. It was just Clay narrating. So I guess that's what we're doing moving forward. It's just gonna be Clay narrating. But I
don't even need a narration. It makes it, dude. That's one of my biggest fucking issues.
Oh yeah,
I hated how the editing was horrible too. Did you ever fucking pick up on the fact that like during some of the testimonies, would literally cut to after the testimony, they cut back to what they were saying, like the Clay stuff, that when they were taking.
Oh yeah. There was one episode where I think it was Marcus's testimony, and I thought we were gonna see him at first. I'm like, okay, this is really weird. Why are we seeing the parent? I'm like, oh, we're seeing Alex, for example. Like it was
Dude,
very
the fucking
weird.
Clay episode where like we find out when they were on Molly and like Hannah made that she wanted to kill
episode was
herself. I
trash.
hated how they edited that because like they had the Clay testify. They cut it, and then after with his dad, like, Clay, you know, it's okay what you said. Then at the end, it just, like, cuts back to the testimony when everyone's already talking about what happened. To then Hannah being like, you know, I sometimes just feel like, you know, just dying and stuff. It's like, what? It's so
Yeah, it's very
horribly
shobbily
edited. There's also so many, like, plot holes and stuff. It's like the Bryce testimony makes no sense because Zach literally said that, like, Hannah had wanted to have sex with him because she wanted to lose her virginity with someone that she trusted. And so it's like, I don't get it. Like, all the... Fuck this fucking show, dude. Like
we'd be here all day, honestly, if we were to talk about the plot holes. But bottom line,
also the fucking soundtrack is still the worst soundtrack out of fucking maybe anything I've ever heard. Like the song placements fucking suck. It's like the score when they use it is used horribly. It's
Yeah,
like
it's
I don't
very-
know. I mean, the show has decent looking visuals at points. I guess
there are some really good visuals for sure. There's one in episode 8 that's like this like one take that's really cool the way they do that. But other than that, there's not really a lot to talk about here. Overall, there's not the bottom line.
Oh my god, wait, you wanna know what else I forgot? Literally Clay's mom literally was working on the Hannah case and they barely even touch on that. And then all of a sudden afterwards she's like, you know what, I don't want to do that anymore. You literally just screwed over Olivia and Clay and all of his friends.
Yeah.
Like what? Like stop it. Like oh.
Also, why are you on the side?
The firm anymore?
Why are you on the side that's
like what do you mean you're not working with the firm anymore? Like what?
Yeah, why are you on the side that's trying to paint Justin as like an enemy? Like you're the one who's trying to like you care about Justin. Why are you treating him this way? It doesn't really make any sense.
I don't get it. It's like it's literally a soap opera.
Bottom line. Yeah. Bottom line, guys, even though there are some good things about the season, the acting is still pretty good for most of them, minus like a couple actors that we mentioned. I do think that there are some good storylines that they eventually do ruin, but at first they are, for the most of the season, they are really good. And there are some good scenes within the show. There also is like 1 or 2 good episodes this season, but really at the end of the day, there's not much they do to justify the show's existence. The only reason it feels like the show is back is so they can A, touch upon issues that they didn't do in season 1, B, so they can expand upon it and make it a more serialized teen drama. They no longer care about telling a nuanced portrayal of bullying and telling a story about a damaged character and what got her to this point. Now the show, it's about these characters that aren't interesting. It takes them in directions that feel very contrived. It feels very over the top. It feels like all of those nuances have been stripped away. There are many directions that are just downright confusing. And at this point, the show is just a shell of what it originally is. And at the end of the day, you're just kind of walking away like wondering what the show even is anymore. Why are we even continuing at this point? What is the point of this show still existing? So really, even though there are good things about this season, at the end of the day, it really just... the whole thing is soured because of just how disingenuous and cynical it really does feel. It's easily one of the most unnecessary seasons of TV that I have seen in so long. There are many scenes that just really disgusted me, and I can't believe they actually did the way they did. Easily, I mean, the worst, the most offensive, without a doubt, though, is that 2001 scene. I mean, that is the most offensive thing that I've ever seen. I don't know how that got approved, and I loved making fun of that. But in all seriousness, guys, this season is absolute garbage. It is absolutely not worth your time at all. And I think even people that like this show, at this point, I think they are pretty much done with this series. And
yeah, I was reading a lot of the comments on the YouTube show. Obviously, like I think like Reddit would probably be, or Twitter is like the place to go to see what people are really feeling now, like the really diehard fans. But a lot of them are literally agreeing with us. It's literally just Riverdale and Pretty Little Liars now at this point.
Yeah,
So,
it's not at all what it was meant to be. It's now just trying to be another stereotypical teen drama that just happens to be on Netflix. And because of that, it just is a shell of its former self. And so for all of those reasons and more, I have to give this season of 13 Reasons Why overall a D.
yeah, I hate this season. I basically say everything I have to say, but my closing point is that the fact that this is a Netflix show is fucking horrible. Like, this show should not be on Netflix. This is not the show that should be tackling worldwide issues and stuff. It's like, the way they do it is just so, it feels so disingenuous at this point. And it literally just feels like they're putting in these things, like the school shooting stuff, and now the pregnancy stuff, just to, like, tackle these issues. No! That's not what the show is about. Okay, you should have just ended it. And it's so disgusting because they knew they were going to do all this stuff before they even finished season 1. When it was supposed to be a miniseries, when it's supposed to be based off the book. Now it's just like going off and it's fucking disgusting. And it's like, I don't know what they're doing. The show was just shock value at this point.
Yep.
And the fact that it's like a teen drama is disgusting to me. I don't care, I'm 16. This show is not supposed to be for me, okay? It's supposed to be for people who are older than me, okay? So, but at the same time, I do watch a lot of stuff that's not meant for me, but not to pat myself on the back.
This is coming from the same person that watched, like, Nightmare on Elm Street when he was, like, 6 or 7.
I watched Antichrist when I was, like, 12 years old.
Jesus Christ.
I know, but it's like at the same time, I hate to pat myself on the back, but I feel like I'm mature enough, and I've had a lot of personal situations when it comes to my mental health. It's like this show is just not the right show to tackle a lot of these fucking issues. And you know, the thing that really sucks is, like, there's 2 good episodes. I like the Jessica Testify episode. I like the Mr. Porter Testify episode. But you want to know something that really fucking sucks? They basically ruin all those fucking storylines, especially with fucking Jessica. So before I was gonna give it like a 3 out of 10, I really didn't like it, but then they just fucking ruined it, and the show just fucking disgusts me. I hate this fucking season. I despise it. There's barely anything I can really say about it. And for that, I'm going to go, I do an out of 10 scale. This gets a 2 out of 10 for me. Yeah. Season 3, I don't know what the fuck they're going to do. I honestly feel like season 3 could be even worse than this, because I feel like they're just going to try to make it more shocking.
It's going to...
What is season 3, like, scene going to be?
I don't know. Like I said this to Kate, and I would not be surprised if they do something where, like, the killer of Bryce, like, puts his body on, like, the black market or something, and they do something really disgusting like that.
I feel like they're setting up certain things as well, because, like, the thing that was really, like, disgusting about the fucking Jessica and Justin sex scene is literally right before Justin asked Jessica, like, do you want to commit suicide the way Hannah did?
Yeah.
I feel like they're trying to set something up there, which I hope they don't go there, because that'd be, like, really fucked up. And at this point, it just is like, that would just be shock value if someone else commits suicide.
Yes, because asking someone if they want to commit suicide is a big turn on for sure, definitely.
It's so weird. It's so weird and poorly.
Definitely get some clothes to come off.
Oh my god, dude. Yeah, no, season 3, Who Killed Bryce Walker?
Yes, this is a fun... This is literally a murder mystery now, and yay,
it's not like Twin Peaks of Who Killed Laura Palmer. It's 13 Reasons Why. Who Killed Bryce Walker?
Yes, or if we want to degrade it even more, it's like a even worse version of Pretty Little Liars.
Who is A?
Yes. Who is A? Who killed Allison De Laurentiis? But even though we find out later she's not dead, spoiler alert, but everyone knew that. But either way, guys,
the ending sucks, so it's fine.
It's one of the worst endings ever. But either way, guys, that's it for this review of this thing. I just want to thank my guest here who forced me into watching the show. They're very happy.
And we will be reviewing season 3. So
yes, unfortunately, even though I have way better things to do with my time, for some reason I'm watching season 3. You guys wonder why?
Kevin could be binging, Mindhunter, Ballers, or fucking, I'm trying to think of shows that are coming back that are
fucking about Ballers.
I don't know. I'm trying to think of shows that are coming back that are good.
Mindhunter. I could be watching. I could be watching. I could be finishing up Swamp Thing, which I don't know. But I could be finishing up. I could be watching Glow season 3. There are so many other things I could be watching, but instead I'm stuck watching trash like this. But hey, it's fun.
I'm pretty sure this show is popular than almost all of those shows, probably.
Yeah, but it's fun to rant about this, I guess.
All right, everyone. So,
Okay, well, before we go, I even though he forced me to watch it, I guess I will give him his little outro here.
yes, well, thank you for deciding to watch this with me, even though I kind of forced you to. Thanks for doing this review with me. I like screaming, I guess. This is like the first rant I've done in fucking ages. So
Yeah.
that was exciting, I guess. Season 3 should be quite the ride. We'll do a review. Yay! If you want, you can check me out on my YouTube channel. I'm gonna produce content in the next few months. Not much, but I will be producing content soon. And yeah, so that's that. Link in description, I guess, for my channel. And yeah,
All right. Well, either way, guys, that's it for this video of this amazing show. Let me know what you guys thought of this season overall. Loved your thoughts on it. Again, I apologize for the fact this season's delayed, but as I said, I had no plans to watch this, so whatever. You got a review finally. But that's it for this video. Hope you guys enjoyed it. Let me know what you guys saw of the season overall. Left your thoughts on it. We'll see you guys in my next video, and we'll see you guys for that. And remember, 2001 is only for pretentious people.
it's for next people so we can all yawn and stuff. All right.
Yes.
Okay, bye.
Bye.